The reason why I wanted to do this is a couple reasons. One is the exchange, the interaction between women provides a fellowship and an inspiration that you get nowhere else. And the other part of that is, as being a part of the legislature, I see groups of women and men from every profession imaginable come through the halls of the state capitol. And the best information I get and the most passionate, rational information that we get to help us make decisions come from women who are on the front line. So that's why I wanted to do this. Tina has two individuals that she wants to introduce. I'm very excited to have you do so. Thank you, Tina.
What I want to do tonight is introduce to you two fantastic women who are breast cancer survivors that are going to speak to you about their story, what they've gone through, their feelings, and their inspiring story. And I want to introduce them. Heather Ingo Nutelli. And Heather was worried that she wouldn't survive more than 5 years after she was diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer at just 32 years old. And Sherry Doublet is our other speaker this evening. And Sherry has definitely earned the title of breast cancer survivor.
The treatment, she told me, it had to be aggressive. The tumor was aggressive and the treatment had to be just as aggressive. So that's what we did. I had a mastectomy. I had 8 rounds of chemotherapy, and I just wanted to get rid of it. So that's what we tried to do. That was 11 years ago. So I sit here today. I actually just had a biopsy yesterday. So I don't get to live as being cancer-free. I don't get to live being worry-free, but I get to live. And I live each and every day to the fullest that I can possibly live.
Initially, they thought that my cancer was 0 stage and that it was also non-invasive. Once they did the biopsy after that second surgery in January, they realized that I had some invasive cancer. So a week later, I was on the operating table again at Advocate, having to have a sentinel lymph node removed to ensure that the cancer had not spread. Thankfully, praise to God, it had not spread. And so, but they did have to remove my sentinel lymph node. The main takeaways for me has been that when you hear the word cancer, there are other people who are survivors who you can lean to. The network of your family, your friends, your faith if you're a believer, it doesn't have to be a death sentence. It's something that does change your life. It has changed my approach to life. I don't sweat the small stuff anymore. I say no a whole lot faster, and I prioritize things a lot more. I don't work all night the way I used to. I spend more time with family, and that's what's most important. And so if you haven't gotten your mammogram, go get your mammogram. I am a living testimony that it's important for you to know.
We have a really special guest here tonight. I don't know who is familiar with the Women Business Development Center, but it is an entity that started in the city of Chicago, which I have some history with, that is instrumental in helping women start and grow their businesses. And WBDC is what it's known as, has just opened an office in the Aurora area. So now we have services that are available to all of you as well. You don't have to go all the way downtown. And they have a phenomenal leader. Please join me in welcoming Amelia Domingo. Tell us how you got to be the CEO of WBDC, and then tell us a little bit about the organization and what you're doing now, if you can do that.
Sure. So it really stems from what's important to me. All of you have talked about what's really important to you. I was given opportunity because of those who came before me. And one of the opportunities I had was I worked for a great organization, Harris Bank, now BMO Harris, for 30 years. And I was recruited to come into their management training program, which created all kinds of opportunity. I was accepted in that program because of a lawsuit that was filed in Chicago against many of the major banks. Women had stepped up and said it is unfair that these that the women that were coming out of college were being put on different tracks than the men that were coming out of college. So that had an impact on me. And that impact on me was if I ever got to a place where I would have a voice, I couldn't forget. While I had a wonderful career at the bank, it was time for me to think about my encore. And my encore needed to have more than a return on investment. That wasn't enough. So I took my business and financial acumen and I put it in a nonprofit organization. The WBDC, which is almost 30 years old, is an economic development organization that targets women. We have a staff of 37. We provide direct service. We serve about 3,400 women business owners a year. 70% is in Northern Illinois. Half of them are startup and emerging businesses. The other half are larger established businesses.
Again, thank you. I'm really glad we had this chance to have this conversation in front of all of our friends. And again, I'm going to make a plug for Amelia and what the WBDC does. I would not really be where I'm at today without the assistance I received, and they are a huge resource. And under Amelia's leadership, I know that there are tons and tons of entrepreneurs out there that you will continue to help. Everybody join me in thanking Amelia Jamaica. I want to thank Sherman Hospital for allowing us to have this room, as well as Comcast and Myers, who both were sponsors of this event tonight. So thank you to all of you for making this available to us.